Good morning and welcome to News Breakfast. It's Thursday. It's great to have your company this morning. I'm Michael Rowland.
And I'm Virginia Trioli. Glad you could join us. Today, carnage at a Gaza market as international condemnation of Israel reaches a boiling point.
This is a moment where you really have to say enough is enough.
A new obstacle for the MH17 mission in Ukraine. Claims this morning that Russian separatists have laid landmines.
Our team is desperate to reach the crash site. We have our experts in place. We're ready to go.
Scott Morrison hits back at claims by the Human Rights Commissioner that most asylum seeker children on Christmas Island are sick.
They're quite sensational claims that have been made. She herself is not a doctor, and we have medical people who are there who provide that care on a daily basis.
Breaking news here in Glasgow. The Athletics Australia head coach Eric Hollingsworth has been suspended.
Thursday newspapers now, and the Sydney Morning Herald captures the moment of a devastating bomb blast over the crowded suburbs of Gaza and highlights one observer's quote, "We have seen many wars, but nothing like this."
Israel's Deputy Foreign Minister says Israel has had no choice in its response to Hamas provocations. He's told the Financial Review we could either die smiling or put an end to the rocket attacks.
The Northern Territory News reports on a man who blew up a shed by lighting a cigarette while sniffing petrol.
The Treasury Department is making all of its staff reapply for their jobs as the voluntary redundancy process for public servants runs out of steam. That story's in the Canberra Times.
The Herald Sun claims that heartless power companies are telling freezing pensioners who can't afford to heat their homes to switch off and rug up instead. Perhaps Jessica Gomez there should rug up too.
The Age reports on moves by the AFL to win back footy fans following the poor response to a highly experimental fixture and a messy ticketing system.
The Courier Mail has more on the controversy surrounding the appointment of the new Chief Justice Tim Carmody. Bench warfare is that paper's headline.
Euthanasia campaigner Philip Mitschke has told The Advertiser he expects to be charged over the suicide of cancer sufferer Max Bromson in Adelaide.
The Guardian Australia reports on the push for higher fees and fewer students by the top 8 universities.
The Australian has an exclusive on mining magnate Andrew Forrest's blueprint for Indigenous welfare and employment, which he's delivered to the Abbott government.
Gunned down for just doing his job. That's how the Daily Telegraph is reporting the death of an environment officer shot during an alleged feud over land clearing with a farmer.
The West Australian reports that homegrown terror fears have forced the WA police force to send officers to Britain to study how to de-radicalise people who have gone to fight in foreign conflicts.
Fight for our devils is the headline in the Mercury, which says the future of one of Australia's foremost Tasmanian devil breeding programs is in jeopardy.
Now, in just a moment...
Vanessa.
Thanks, Michael. And for parts of Tasmania, gale force winds have continued throughout the night, up to 130 kilometres an hour at Scott's Peak. And with the low pressure system passing to the south of the state tonight, the windy weather will continue. Moderate flood warnings remain for the north and south Esk river basins. Let's take a look and see what's happening today, because the strongest front of the week is approaching the southeast this morning. Again, the northwesterly winds are strengthening ahead of this system, and behind it we've got a cold westerly change that is expected to reach South Australia's Port Lincoln to Mount Gambier between 9 and 10 this morning. Adelaide, you should feel the effects of the front around lunchtime, and Melbourne by mid to late afternoon. Severe warnings and sheep grazier warnings extend across parts of South Australia into Victoria, Tasmania and also the southeastern parts of New South Wales. The cooler winds will continue up the coast tomorrow, reaching Sydney during the morning and Brisbane throughout the afternoon. But today, down in the south, some frost again this morning, possible showers about the tropical and even around the central coast, otherwise a warm and sunny day. New South Wales across the south, north to northwesterlies to reach gale force. This afternoon up to around 130 kilometres an hour for the snowy mountains, and the showers will become more widespread. By tonight we'll see the westerly winds and snow down to 1,300 metres. In Victoria, northwesterlies are also strengthening up to gale force about the southern and mountain areas ahead of the cold westerly change. It will bring rain, hail and thunder, and by tonight the snow will lower down to 700 metres. Tasmania, more heavy rain in the north and west, more isolated around the east coast, but again we'll have those strong and gusty northwesterlies tending westerly by tonight. Very cold with snow falling as low as 400 metres, 12 degrees Hobart and 11 in Strahan. Winds also affecting South Australia, possibly reaching gale force mainly around the coast and ranges. Showers about the south, and by tonight possible hail hail and squally thunderstorms to the south of Adelaide. Western Australia, well, a new high pressure system is coming in. We'll still see a few showers around the southwest, but contracting over to the Euclid coast throughout the afternoon. Up to the north, and another warm and sunny day, perhaps a few showers about the top end's northeast coast, and we'll also have a moderate southerly change coming into the Alice Springs district. Tomorrow, Sydney, a westerly change during the morning. You're heading for a top of 17 degrees, a fine and sunny one for Perth, 19, and cold with late morning showers in Hobart, 10 degrees.
With a news update.
Thanks, Virginia. Leading the news, Palestinian officials say an Israeli strike on a busy market in Gaza has killed at least 17 people and wounded 160 others. Earlier, the UN accused Israel of shelling a UN-run school housing refugees in Gaza. 16 people were killed and dozens of others were injured in that attack. A Ukrainian government spokesman says pro-Russian rebels have placed landmines on roads leading to the MH17 crash site. Australian and European monitors have been locked out of the area for 4 days because of intense fighting. Foreign Minister Julie Bishop has been engaged in last-minute lobbying in Kiev ahead of a parliamentary vote to give the Dutch control of the crash site.
We have to remember there's a full-scale war going on. There's heavy weapons, artillery, missiles. The sides, and there are a number of sides, are fighting each other.
Athletics Australia has suspended head coach Eric Hollingsworth over his scathing attack on hurdles champion Sally Pearson. Hollingsworth accused the athlete of setting a bad example by not attending a training camp ahead of the Glasgow Games. And the Immigration Minister Scott Morrison has hit back at claims by the Human Rights Commissioner that most of the children being held in detention on Christmas Island are sick. Mr Morrison says Gillian Triggs is not a doctor and asylum seekers on the island are receiving adequate medical care.
Spoken to Sally Pearson, she does not wish to make any comment at the moment. She will compete in the hurdles, her pet event in which she is the Olympic champion tomorrow evening. A couple of other matters in the Games, and a 29-year-old athlete from the Australian team has been taken into custody by police after a fight, and there is an assault investigation. The name of that athlete has not been released, and the brother of a boxer, the boxer Jordan Samadali, his brother Laith Samadali, has been taken into custody. He remains in custody. He was arrested after throwing a plastic bottle at a boxing event yesterday, and he is due to be sentenced for assault tomorrow. That is Glasgow, Scotland time. And Matthew Mitcham has won a silver medal in the diving. That's the 1 metre springboard. The former Olympic champion won the silver medal, and he was behind an Englishman who won that event, and England has now overtaken Australia in the medal tally. In Mickel's medal, I think we're still maybe trailing England. It's hard to keep up with every 10 minutes or so, but the English have won a couple of medals in the last hour. Have you got a fresh count there for me, Virginia?
Yeah, England 37 gold, 34 silver, 30 bronze, taking them to the top 101. We have more medals. We have 106, but we've got 35 gold. Don't they tell you this on the total medals rather than the gold medals, PK?
No, they don't. No, we only call for that when we're losing on gold medals.